We raced every year, all year round, and I loved it. But like my little brother, he would just like take a year off. Like, I'm not that into it. And then like,
he's still
and then
incredible.
he just come back and just win everything at the amateur nationals. My top 3 tips for beginner jumping is, I mean, you just gotta know your motorcycle. Let's say you're sizing up a double jump. Don't just blindly follow your buddy off of it. That might work.
But it might not.
But you know, I don't ever jump something that I think I might jump. I mean, every once in a while you'll take a risk.
Be sure.
But, you know, jump out into the face of it. You know, feel it out. Be comfortable, you know, jumping into the face of it. And if it's already taking you out of your comfort zone when you're coming up short and just landing with your front wheel in front of it, might not be the jump for you. You know, if that's already taking the impact on you and you're getting sketchy. But just always looking forward, always having like a neutral feel, knowing how to give it gas off the top of the lip so you don't, you know, you can take the bike up, and the more advanced you get, you want to figure out how to tap the back brake in the air. That's a really good thing to learn. You don't have to learn on a double or nothing, just a single, and just practice, you know, jumping, putting your front wheel up, grabbing the clutch, hitting the brake, and tapping it, and getting used to that, you know, flying the bike, you could say.
Managing the bike in the air, like knowing what it, or at least being able to change it if you want.
Yeah, because
that's the key.
You need to know how to, you know, before you start hitting all these big jumps and big double jumps, you want to figure out how to fix things when they go bad off a single jump. You know, if you're endoing, you know, you need to know the, you know, nose down. You need to know the way to throw your weight back and panic rev and try to get that gyro reaction to go back down to the ground. And then again, the opposite, if you're nose wheel high, you know, you want to put your weight forward, grab the clutch, tap the brake, settle it down. You know, there's just these little things that if you know how to do that perfectly on single jumps and tabletops, that's when you're really should be ready to go hit a double. Like that's the next step. You don't want to skip those steps, or it's gonna bite you another time.
If you have those couple things, you're good. Panic rev, brake tap. I mean, the only thing other than that is getting a little sideways. That's a little harder to manage for some people.
And I think jumping too. If you're not confident in doing it, don't do it. Like that's really just, you know, don't let peer pressure make you jump something, unless, you know, it's well within your range and you've been riding for years and everybody around you is like, dude, you have this. But if there's one guy or even yourself, you're like, oh, I need to jump this jump to win, you're not comfortable doing it,
ain't worth that win.
What do you think about for like fear getting over it? You still get nervous? You still get scared? You're just like, whatever, I can do it, I'm confident?
I don't ever do anything I don't want to do. You know, like I like jumping stuff. I like the challenge of doing it. And if I see somebody doing it, instead of like getting, like some people see a jump get jumped and they're like, oh, but I got to do that. But then for me, I think I just personally just get stoked and like want to figure out how to do that as well.
You know it can be done. You're like, okay.
Oh, you did it like that. Like it's just kind of, it triggers like a different thing in my brain. And I think too, just like free ride, I just see something and just the thought of how cool it would be and how it would feel just to do it. You know, like you just catch something and see just a big lip, and way further down there than you really want to, there'll be a sweet spot. And you just be like, well, I think we can make it to that sweet spot. And then when you do it right, it's just, you know, a better feeling.
Feels good. Yeah, no, I'm with you there.
Never any tape measures or anything like that. I mean, the stuff I've done, I don't even know how big it really is, but yeah.
You look like a speck in the sky. That's how you know.
Fun. 4-stroke, obviously, they're way better. Like 2-strokes, like,
I mean, that hate you.
Oh, Ronnie Mac will be calling you.
They're all dorks. 2-strokes are great. They're cheap. And if I wasn't racing dirt bikes, like, actually, no, 4-strokes are just better now. Like, you don't have to jet them. You don't have to, they work. The new 4-strokes are the best bikes have ever been. So
yeah, it's almost like 2-stroke people like 2-strokes because they like to work on them more than, a lot of times, than they like to ride them.
Yeah, and I mean,
they like to make them look sick and work on them.
Yeah, I missed that era, you know, the jetting, and maybe it's on me, and I've ridden some really crisp 250s, and they're fun to ride. But 9 times out of 10, when somebody goes, hey, ride my 2-stroke, the thing runs like crap. But they are fun when they're running right. They're really fun.
What's your opinion on getting into the sport? So our program is, we have everything that someone would need to get into the sport. They could roll, you know, they don't have to roll a bike to the door. They can come in the door in their shorts and tank top and ride that day Do you think the sport is fed heavily from the top and not enough from the bottom? Do there need to be more programs like that? We teach so many people how to ride, and everyone's always stoked. It's always 100%. That was fun. And I think when I grew up, it was more of like, here's a bike, figure it out. And that doesn't go well for everyone, right? Not everyone has the mindset to be able to handle what that means, or the falls, or the things, the variables, right? And I think that's less and less happening. What's your opinion?
See, I think the same. Like what you have going on, if people can just come up and rent a bike and ride a track, that's what really needs to be in place to grow the sport. Like, there's not enough of that stuff. Like you basically, it's like anybody that rides, you ask them, well, how'd you get into riding? Like 9 times out of 10 or more, they're gonna be like, oh, my dad rode, or my brother rode, or my uncle rode. Like you have to have like a family member or a friend that brought you into it. Like nobody just has never ridden a bike, just shows up to a dealership, just goes, I need that. Like, I mean, maybe they do, but I don't think it's not I don't know very many people like that.
No.
So, I mean, for me, this is why I'm so pumped on these electric bikes, because it's just plug and play. Like, it will open the door for more riding places, more like just entry level. Just get people riding motorcycles. Like, it doesn't matter to me what it is. Like, you'll ride one of these electric bikes, and then eventually you're going to be like, oh, well, I want to go ride the gas. I want to ride the real thing. See what that feels like. So I'm hoping that these things just keep getting more inexpensive and different types. And I'd love to see it where there's, like a supermoto track that looks like that's like a go-kart facility. You just come in and bikes lined up and race your buddy on lap times on a fairly safe track, and pad up and go do it.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
That you race that?
Altas are fun. They're super fun.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just all kinds of there's so many new
Honda's coming out.
Honda's supposed to be coming out with that. I haven't seen the release date, but there's all these new companies. You got Cake, you got there's Kuberg, there's Zero, there's Altas. You can still find them, but they're not making them anymore, unfortunately. There's there's so many of these new little bike companies come out, and it's not really rocket science. They just have to get a controller and a battery and hook it up to a wheel, and the things go. And they're always fun.
That's what I'm talking about. That's kind of rocket science I'm into. What are your tips for someone that's like, look, I'm going to go to the track for the first time?
Okay, going to the track for the first time. If you've been riding a lot and you kind of know the basics of it, you just kind of have to learn the track etiquette. Don't pin it through the pits. First thing. Wait to make sure that you absolutely know the direction of the track before you get on it. Always do a sight lap and try to stay off the center of the racetrack. If you're out there, especially on an open practice, and it's your first lap, you want to do your best to stay out of the main line, because if you go to Glen Helen and you don't know that, hey, this is a big deal, top motocross pro could just come around the corner and land on you if you have no idea what you're doing. And I don't want to intimidate people, but you just gotta ride off to the side of the track, take a good look at it.
Take a dip in the river?
Yes.
Way far ahead.
What's your opinion on racing? With parents, mini parents. Your dad was a mini dad. My dad was a mini dad. Mine was wild. I don't know how yours was. Probably wild.
I just think, like, pretty much with any parents, I mean, I'm sure, like, when they've dedicated so much of their time and so much of their effort that, they want you to try to match the effort, when it's time to race, and most kids can't really comprehend why, like, most kids don't really care if they win or lose. I mean, let's be honest. Like, I didn't until I was probably like 13 or 14. I really care less.
Yeah.
But, it's just parents put so much into it. When you're spending all your savings and going in debt to take your kid racing, it gets a little bit to where there's pressure on them, and you really gotta, I think as parents, you gotta look at the kid and kind of see how, if he's loving it. If he's loving it and this is what he wants to do his entire life and he wants to dedicate his life to it, like, then keep going. But if the kid's not as into it as the parents, which a lot of times it's not that way, just take a season off. Probably be better when you come back the next season. It's not like just overnight everybody just gets way faster. I mean, sometimes some time away from the bike makes you love it even more, and stepping away from racing, or just go ride. Maybe just be a desert family.
Yeah.
For a year, you're still going to be like learning all the skills and having fun, but it's takes the pressure off the the financial stress and the pressure to perform off the kid. I mean, I never did that. We raced every year, all year round, and I loved it. But like my little brother, he would just like take a year off. Like, I'm not that into it. And then
And he's still
and then he
incredible.
just come back and just win everything at the amateur nationals, and it was just kind of like two totally different things. And I mean, I think my brother loves riding dirt bikes. I'd say almost. I don't know if anybody likes riding dirt bikes more than me. I'll be honest.
Really? You're into
I
it, huh?
love it, and I can't get enough. And the older I get, it just. I mean, I flew out here to come ride these cake bikes and just have fun. I mean, flew out to Texas from North
Where are we?
Carolina. Yeah, what is it, California?
Thinking about dirt bikes too much.
Yeah, flew out to Texas from North Carolina just on a whim to come ride these things and hang out with you guys, and man, I love it.
It's
Can't get
sweet,
enough of
yeah.
it.
You say you're a good wheelier?
I mean,
Pretty good nose wheeler.
I'm not scraping my back fender, but I've just never felt like there's like 27 bolts that go into a YZ450 rear fender now. And
Not worth it.
I don't feel like breaking it, so I've never really tried to.
That's awesome.
But I mean, it only usually goes bad if they don't find their rear brake. It's really
that's
there's one
like, I
tip.
don't need to
Just
use
keep
the
your
rear
foot
brake.
on the rear brake in case
I
it
think
goes too far.
Yeah, for people who have never done it, it's important for them to know how to get the front end up and create traction, right? Enough traction that the soils are different. But the ultimate rule is the back brake, always and forever. It's not gonna ever change.
And clutch, you have a finger on the clutch and your foot just hovering above that back brake, just waiting to go past the balance point.
Mhm.
Those are if you know how to pop it up, those are the two things that'll save you from it going wrong, I think. I'm probably better at stand-up wheelies than I am sit down. Sitting down, like low speed, that you probably need to be low, like, real loose, so that you're, if the bike starts to go one way, you can kind of react the other way. But I think you just kind of have to, it's all feel. There's really I don't think there's any way you can just like teach it, like, oh, do this if you go to this,
Yeah. Well, I always think about, like, when you watch the dudes that are really good at wheeling, usually they're on the street. But and they're like taking the bike back and forth like this, and you watch them,
Philly guys, the Philly kids.
and they're doing it all with their bars. Like, they'll turn their bars and like take the bike this way and like shift their hips, right? Like, and they're just like all over the place. I'm super jealous, but I just don't. I don't think I got it. Not on the street, never.
Takes some time. Those guys are dedicated to the street wheelies and never paid our dues.
Never paid our dues. I can't. Road rash. I'm out. I'll do anything but road rash. Well, cool. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries.